There she goes, first solo drive.
Are we ready for this?
Absolutely.
Our AAA agent, what are you doing here?
Well, same as always, helping you protect what matters most. Like when you added her to your auto policy, or when you switched to AAA insurance and saved.
So you've been here the whole time?
Yep, plus we're available 24/7 for claim support, in case you ever need it.
Shouldn't she be home already?
It's been 12 seconds.
Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote today.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Outcome Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelley Bydlon right there, everybody.
Hey.
Kelly's sprinting back in the studio.
Yes, sir.
That's what he does. Still to come, Todd Wishnev. We're going to continue with our head-to-head props in the NFL a little later on. And momentarily, Win Total Wednesdays.
That's right. Can I give a shout out quick?
Please.
How about my cousin Nicole, who just had a brand new baby at home on maternity leave.
Congratulations, Nicole.
Brand new healthy baby Harper. They're at home with her husband Connor. Okay? I've been watching the show. Connor's a big tennis fan, so he got really excited apparently at the beginning of the show. You were going into all the tennis. I don't think he watches as much. Nicole watches a lot.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. Nicole, when I was growing up, last name Wardeberg, married Connor Funk. What's a worse last name to go through life with? Wardeberg or Funk?
Oh, I think Funk is cool.
Those are two tough ones. I know. I think Funk's cool too.
So now is she now Nicole Funk?
She's Nicole Funk. Yeah.
Come on, that's awesome.
An awesome name. Okay,
yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it.
I mean,
too,
I understand what you're going with.
It's tough. It's tough.
You could pretty much put any name before Funk, and it's cool.
I kind of think the same.
Especially if it's multi-syllable.
So shout out to the Funks at home watching.
Congratulations, Connor and Nicole Funk. That's short for Funkadelic. Did y'all go to Ellis Island? It was Funkadelic was your last name. They shortened it to Funk.
Man, has that been a story this week?
Chris of St. Bart's on Twitter. Nothing like betting Gilly tennis while loopy under nitrous at the dentist.
Nice.
Hey, as long as they win, doesn't matter if you even know what you're doing, right? As long as they win. Chance Copperpot. Thank you for this, Chance. Chance, isn't it funny how some of us take pop culture references as assumed knowledge? How did y'all not know that was from I Get Around from Tupac? How did you not know that was an I Get Around reference?
I don't even know how many hundreds of times I've listened to that song, too.
He said, if I see Torch D pop up in the Toddy chat in the Discord, Todd Wishnev joining us later, he said, I see satin in your panties and just assumed he knew, I say satin in your panties. In the Discord, he says it, and just assumed he knew what that meant. I'll tell you why, Chance Copperbot. I'll tell you why we're on one plane and they're on another one. Because Gen X, I'm going to assume you're Gen X like me, Gen X, just better human beings. That's what I'm going to go with.
He's not. Chance is like my age.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
How about, you want some news?
Please. It's about time we got around to some news.
Here's a funny one. PGA Tour suspending a golfer for betting on golf.
Oh, wait. I like this.
I liked it, too.
Until you found out who it was.
Until I found out who it was.
Oh,
this would
no.
be Matt. No, actually, because it's not intriguing at all.
Oh,
Matt Gogol, who's on the Champions Tour.
Oh, Matt, come on.
Who, of course, in golf-like fashion, like his apology, I just read through it. It was like, he's like, it was like a couple years ago. I didn't even know it was wrong at the time. It was like on stuff I wasn't playing in.
Can I ask a stupid question? How'd they find out that Matt Gogol bet on golf?
That's a great question. I don't know. I've been scrolling through this article. That hasn't come up yet.
Did he do the Calvin Ridley thing where Calvin Ridley opened up his account in Florida under the clever pseudonym Calvin Ridley? Did Matt go?
This is his quote, by the way. I think it's Gogol. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
Quote from him. In 2024 and 2025, I unknowingly violated the PGA Tour policy by placing small recreational wagers on golf. I want to be clear that these wagers were not placed on any regular PGA Tour events, which I don't really know what that means.
Well, then what the hell are you betting on?
Champions Tour events or any tournament in which I participated.
So what, he's betting LPGA?
Yeah, right? LPGA or like college golf? I would never knowingly violate the integrity of the game of golf. I made an honest mistake and look forward to playing in 2027 on the Champions Tour.
Come on, Matt Gogol. Just own it.
Don't you love this? That's like a name that I barely know. He won Pebble in 2002.
It does sound vaguely familiar.
Don't you love these guys, though, like these names like this, and you look up career earnings, and you're just like, it's millions. It's millions. Like, what?
Drew, Zach, and I, not that we do it often, but I think we once went down the tennis rabbit hole of like career earnings of all these players that only tennis hardos know through the years, right?
Stuff's mind-blowing.
It's incredible. And then you wonder, why do they grind out on the tour for so long? Because they made millions.
Right,
Grinding.
exactly. It just, yeah. We make fun of Patrick Cantlay every week on long shots for not winning. He's just out there collecting checks, collecting fat checks.
When I say millions, I mean a couple million, a few million for a lot of these players.
Some
better
news,
living than you can get anywhere else.
Some other news out of Texans-Panthers joint practice today.
Oh, I like joint practice.
Do you want
news.
serious news or funny news?
Please, I hope they fought. I'm always rooting for a fight.
No
joint
fight.
practice.
Okay, serious news. Texans believe that offensive lineman Braden Smith suffered a foot injury, believe he suffered a foot injury. He had to be carted off the field. That is their starting right tackle. So that is big deal for Houston Texans.
From Adam Schefter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the funny news, Bryce Young versus the Texans in joint practice today. 4 sacks, 2 interceptions.
Say it, Kelley.
Tough day for Bryce Young. I don't know if he's any good at football. And I lean towards no.
Every time he comes up, I'm going to ask you to give that opinion.
That's fine.
Until you finally figure it out.
You know what I wrote? I think I wrote it up well in the Betting Guide 2.0 comes out Monday.
Yeah.
What I do know about...
I should get that in.
You know what I know about Bryce Young? That this, I feel like, gets brought up about Kyler Murray all the time, but Bryce Young, escapes this same thing. What I do know about Bryce Young is that he's small, and that a small guy continuing to play 14-plus games a season is not going to happen.
Bryce Young, though, we can say 2 things about him that really improved over time. His ability to avoid turnovers was actually getting better, and his ability to avoid sacks was the biggest thing. I remember the Rams had a million pressures on him in that playoff game, and I think he only got sacked twice.
Career high in passing yards last year with 3,011, career low in sacks with 27.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to give him that.
I got to give him that. You know what else is funny, though, when you bring that up? They scored less points last year than they did the year before.
Yes, and in that playoff game, they actually flirted with, I don't know if they flirted with beating him, but they kind of did.
Yeah, they kind of did.
That was probably their best game offensively, as I recall.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, over or under?
Okay,
Danny did a great job.
Do we do a Win Total Wednesdays intro? We don't have
We
one?
do. We have it. It's Wednesday.
The guy's looking over or under. It's another edition of Win Total Wednesday on a numbers game.
Thank you, Ryan.
Gil,
I believe you stepped over Ryan's vocals.
I did.
there.
I apologize.
Please don't ever do that. I do it sometimes. All right, so what Danny has done.
No crap.
We have complete. What'd you say?
No crap.
I do it all the time.
I love that you had to stop me. That was great.
So what Danny has done here, by the way, Danny's last days here on the show, so we're sort of letting him run the pilot the ship here last 3 days.
Yeah.
You pilot a ship?
Pilot the plane.
Steer a ship.
Sure.
We're going to do one team per division. So 8 divisions, National Football League. He has hand-selected one team just to get our quick thoughts over/under on season win total.
And look, I didn't consult you on this. I said, let's go blind. Let's go in blind.
Yeah, we don't know
I kind
what's
of want
coming.
to see what just our initial reactions are, and we'll go through, kind of rapid fire through a few.
Okay, first team, AFC East, New England Patriots. He has given us win total is 10.5. The under is juiced to -140. My instant reaction is I get why the under is juiced. As great as they were last year, what were they 14-3 last year?
Mm-hmm.
The schedule, right? The schedule. It's the big headline. Everybody should know. They had not only the easiest schedule in football last year, they had one of the easiest schedules this century last year in the National Football League. Good on them. You can't control what your schedule is. They got all the way to the Super Bowl. You can't detract as far in terms of how they capitalized on that. But the schedule is much harder this year. Can they get to 11-6? It's actually I don't think they can. I think that is properly priced. I would actually play the under -140.
Much harder schedule than it was a year ago because that was historically one of the easiest schedules ever. Just to put in perspective, I like bringing up this note. Still the 12th easiest schedule this year based off of win totals heading into the season.
Because you get the Dolphins and Jets 4 times total.
That helps out.
Yeah.
This also jumped out. This year, they will face 8 opponents who finished top 12 a season ago in EPA.
That's right.
So that's pretty significant.
Lean
under, this is a tough one for me.
Lean under, and it's priced that.
I don't think it's far, though. I still think the Patriots are clearly the second best team in that division, and it's probably 10, 11-ish wins.
Pittsburgh Steelers is what he has selected from the AFC North. Under 8.5 is slightly juiced at -130. I agree with that slight juicing because they old. Aaron Rodgers is going to be 43, but you have your stalwart on defense in Hayward at 37 years old. I just feel like, and it's going to time out perfectly for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I just feel like this catches up to them dramatically this year.
This is one of those teams, and there's several that we have in the NFL this season of like, hey, the team that you know isn't the best in the division that stumbled into winning the division last year, right? So like, what have people talked about with the Ravens and the Bengals all offseason? How easy the schedules are. The Steelers got the toughest schedule in the AFC North. They've got 3 back-to-back road games, no bye after their game in Paris, and a trio of short week games. Yeah, I'm going to go under for this exercise. I have not bet it this year, though, even though I have comically bet it many years. What I'm staring very hard at, Gill Alexander, is laying the no price on them for the playoffs. It's like minus 160. I think it's worth a bet.
Jason Stark furiously typing a tweet right now to kill us on that.
Oh, this is a good one,
AFC
Danny.
South, Danny has selected the Titans, 6.5. Close to a coin flip in terms of the juice. Under slightly juiced at 6.5. I actually don't have an opinion here.
I don't much either, but I will say under for the sake of this exercise, just because I am higher than most on the Jags, and I'm high on the Texans, but apparently not as high as others.
I believe in the person that Cam Ward is.
Me too.
I think he needs to ratchet back the public frustration that he expressed a couple times last year. But I think you'll get it. Broncos, win total 9.5. I'm going over.
Going over, too.
Over. I just think the defense is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they know what Bo Nix's sort of flaws are. They're trying to help him with some personnel this year. I like that Sean Payton has given up the play calling early. I don't know if that'll stick. But that defense makes me always want to go over here. 10-7 is all I got to get to with the Broncos. Over.
High floor for this team. We talked about this yesterday. Yep. This is the market I would bet them in over the win total. However, I'm waiting on this, Gill. After they play Seattle and on October 15th, I'm going to look to swing in on an over.
All right, we got a lot to clean up later with NFC and then some of the props.
Ryan Noonan next, though.
No, Todd Wishnev.
Todd Wishnev next. That's what's up.
Boy, it's going to be tough when Danny's gone. You could tell. That was just an early example.
Early taste.
Coming back on a numbers game. You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VEASAN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VEASAN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
College football week 0 is here. The NFL season's just around the corner. Now's the time to get your edge with VEASAN Pro. Next week, our updated NFL betting guide drops with post-preseason updates, week 1 betting systems, contest strategies, and updated best bets from VEASAN's experts. Sign up today. You'll also get instant access to our college football betting guide, plus daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VEASAN Watch app. Start for as little as $9.99 or save 50% with a VEASAN Pro annual subscription. Head to VEASAN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. I'm only going to read a few tweets. Todd gets ornery if I read more. Brian Point Schaefer, is Todd the only handicapper that doesn't gloat when one of his plays wins? And when it loses, he makes fun of himself. He is as real as can be. I concur. By the way, let me just take umbrage, though, with somebody who was like saying on Twitter that all I talk about is winning that Red Sox 80-1. Have I ever even mentioned it?
Umbrage. He's not going to take umbrage.
Listen, umbrage is something you can only take.
You can only take.
You can't give it. You can take it, though.
Yeah.
Seriously, I wasn't even here when they won. Please. Everybody else would gloat way more on that. Chance Copperbot. I'm on the back end of Gen X, so yes, I am a 70s baby, Kelley, but the doctors say we're the same age biologically, so I guess you're both correct. Steve, New York Football Giants 42. Thanks for the preseason update on Bryce Young, Kelley. Does this mean we can cash our CJ Stroud #1 pick tickets?
That's a great tweet. Yep, still hold on to that one.
Skits 360. Farewell and good luck, Danny. Producer number 11 has big shoes to fill. Yeah, she does.
Amen.
Mike Rouse, is there a difference between having a baby and having a brand new baby, Kelley? Isn't it assumed all babies are brand new? I agree. I thought the same thing.
Well, it's her second child, so it's the new one.
Oh, okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the star of the MegaPod, the Beating the Book MegaPod, which premieres. What is it? Next? No, not next Thursday. The Thursday after that. Or earlier in the week, hopefully, for week 1. He's also the star of the Showtime docuseries Action, and, of course, the main star of Wishnev Wednesdays. It's Todd Wishnev, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line from Pittsburgh, PA. What's happening?
You forgot, and that guy is too fat to win. It's impossible. Did you see him on the show?
Yeah, that too.
That was another thing. Okay, we have a lot of topics to get to. Let's start with, in no particular order, let us start with the notion of, and you came up with this term, which I thought was brilliant, premature physiculation. What do you mean by that, and why should people be aware of this?
Well, I coined the phrase premature physiculation because we have a very intelligent friend. I will say he's a very intelligent fellow, at least about certain topics. And sometimes
Steve Fezzik,
when watching a game, in gaming, he gets overly excited and wants to do something maybe before it is really warranted. For an example, maybe, a team scores 7-0. Immediately he wants to jump on in game that team, and you haven't even seen the other team, with the ball yet, and I understand why he does it, because it's always a fine line between trying to get the in-game bet prior to the algorithm adjusting up, and the other side of it is being, too late when they've already figured it out. And especially in like college football, you see this early in the season a lot. They don't know anything about these teams, folks. These teams are completely different. Ask Chris Felica how many different transfers are on these teams. They have no idea. So, Brad Powers knows his stuff, but most other people don't, and they probably don't know how these teams are going to gel together. And so you're going to see some lines that are going to be way off, and they will adjust in the algorithm when everybody goes, oh, wait a second, UCLA is not that bad. Like, for instance, I remember, some games where UCLA was like a gigantic underdog to Penn State. And, midway through the second quarter, you're like, wait a second, UCLA is better, and they were like, and then the algorithm was already on to it. But so I understand why he wants to jump out early, but sometimes a little patience is warranted. I find my best in-game bets, typically, not counting like quarter bets and stuff like that, but for full game bets, happen maybe 5 to 6 minutes into the second quarter. I've seen enough of the game. I've seen enough drives. I've seen, defensively, offensively, both teams. And now I can make a pretty good calculation. So be careful jumping to conclusions too quickly, which I call a premature physiculation.
Well said. And by the way, the man knows of what he speaks with in-game betting. He had a 187 unit to the positive college basketball season, all 1 unit bets.
Is that good?
It happened.
No, some were less than 1 unit, actually.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Some were less than 1 unit, but certainly not doing the 2 unit, 3 unit thing. That's how we got
not doing the shtick lach that many in the tout game do.
Whoa. What are you talking about? They mean I know I'm down the last 2 weeks, but I've got my 10-star whale lock of the year.
Shtick lach, not related to crepe lach, which is very tasty, I think. Felica, speaking of our friends, he called, what he said, Seattle AL West with easy schedule. You like or don't like?
I think that I don't know if you're getting enough because I haven't looked at the schedule of the other teams, but
easiest
I like
remaining
the
schedule
idea.
in baseball. Easiest remaining schedule in baseball.
19 out of 22 against the Angels and the Athletics. That's like if I played tennis and scheduled Gilly Alexander, then Stevie Fezzik, then Gilly Alexander, then Stevie Fezzik, then Gilly Alexander on the road, then at home Gilly Alexander, then Stevie Fezzik at home. It would be just endless W's over and over, and that seems to be what we're looking at here, possibly.
Mean-spirited and uncalled for is how I would characterize that last response. Okay.
By the way, folks, Gilly Alexander was arguing with me the other day that he's super competitive with me when in the last 6 sets we've played, he won a total of 8 games. 6-1, 6-1, 6-4, 6-1, 6-0, 6-0. And we've now installed for the match in September when I get it over there in a couple weeks, we've installed me over 1.5 Gilly games in a best 2 out of 3 match. So if I beat him 6-0, 6-1, I win the bet. If I don't, I lose the bet. Stevie Fezzik already betted at Novig at -118.
Are you done?
Over.
Well, let me know
Chris
when we continue.
Felica and me are on the under.
Yeah. I want to know what happened in that one set. 6-4.
Because all these games get to deuce, and then I mentally crumble. That was the one time I didn't mentally crumble.
Kelley, do you really believe every game gets to deuce?
Not every,
do you
but
really
they mostly
believe that?
They mostly get to deuce. He can laugh, but he knows it's
Todd's
true.
the most incredible clutch player ever.
Okay. Now I'm not so sad about bringing this up. You took it in the keister in a WNBA thing, as you would say. Wings over 56.5 team total the other day. let's discuss those seriously, the money management, the psychological aspect of this, because you handle it well.
I think that something we don't talk about enough in gambling is you have periods where you're making good bets and you're just taking keister shot after keister shot and you can't win. It's like I was on fire in WNBA. I was up about 22 units. I could do no wrong. Now I'm only up like 6 units because I just keep taking. I've probably made a bunch of bad bets too, but I've also taken some hellacious beats. The Dallas Wings had 56 points in the first quarter and the first 6 minutes of the second quarter. 56, guys. If you watch WNBA, 56 and a half is absurd. 56 in the first 16 minutes is beyond absurd. And I needed a half a point in the last 4 minutes, and they didn't get there. They scored 0 in the including a girl on the last possession, 1 foot away from a bunny, and she missed it. So I guess the point that I would make, and I'm not always great at this, but sometimes there's always this thing to like, oh, well, maybe I should up my bets now because sooner or later I'm going to stop getting these terrible beats, and doing something out of the ordinary when you're in one of these bad runs to try to make back all at once your bad beats or your bad bets. And I feel like it's not the way to go. And, I've made the mistake many, many times in the past, and it's not like I never make the mistake even now, but it's just something to remember. The beats will stop, but if you force it, sometimes it can just really snowball. So don't up your bets to 2 units. If you're like a $100 bettor, don't start betting 2 and 300 because you went on a losing streak. You want to get it back. Just take your time, make good bets, keep betting your $100 a game. It will come back, but you have to stay calm because a lot of times also, if you jump it up, you're not thinking straight because now you're trying to be too fine and too careful and stuff like that as well. So I think it's something we don't talk about too much. I don't know if you talk about it that much, Gilly, but I think it's something we don't talk about enough in the world of gambling is to keep cool and remain calm.
I would agree with that. We would get to multiple more topics here, but since Todd needed to spend a minute acting like he was Vitas Gerulaitis, a regular Eli Nastasi, we can only get to one more topic. Let's talk about the individual K at bats.
I was watching Eli Nastasi Connors on YouTube, 1972 at Wimbledon the other day. It was fantastic.
What is this you want to talk about with individual batters and Ks? Luzardo versus Ward. And you said the Wisdom if they're in the lineup. What do you mean?
Patrick Wisdom.
Oh, Patrick Wisdom.
So some of I've been doing decently on these individual at bats to strike out guys. And, it's usually like there's 6 different offers. And usually that means that the VIG on those is a terrible bet. Right. Usually when you have that many offers in a particular, sports book, it's usually bad. But I think sometimes if you can target in on certain guys who have horrendous strikeout numbers against a particular pitcher, for example, today Ward has faced him 10 times, has faced Luzardo 10 times. He struck out 7 times. Patrick Wisdom has faced him 14 times. He struck out 9 times. They're not going to make these guys minus 160 to strike out. The worst you're going to see is like minus 110. Most of the time it's plus money, right? So you're not going to see like minus 110. And sometimes they just can't adjust enough. It's almost like an algorithm in an in-game scenario where they just can't adjust stuff. So it's something to keep an eye on, especially if Luzardo looks like he has good stuff today.
Thank you, Toddy. Appreciate it.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The Circa Survivor documentary is heating up, and tonight's episode is called The Hedge. 49 survivors, $18.7 million, and now The Hedge, with weeks 14 through 16 delivering the final stretch before the Christmas slate. The psychology of the contest reaches a fever pitch. Who takes the money? Who rolls the dice? We go deep inside the minds of the contestants still standing, exploring the impossible decisions that come with life-changing sums on the line. Watch the next episode. That's the next episode tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on VSiN. If you need to catch up, all episodes are on YouTube right now for the Circa Survivor doc. Just search VSiN Live, and maybe, just maybe, Kelley Bydlon will make an appearance on this show.
Oh, I was like half the last episode. I don't know about this one.
Can I just read this one tweet we got from somebody?
Yeah.
This is from LBC2K1. Every time I watch Kelley on VSiN, all I see is Seth Rogen. He looks, sounds, and acts just like him. I can't unsee it.
As you know, I've been getting this a lot more recently.
I don't think you look like
So
him,
I don't
no?
think so either. What I tweeted back was I'm okay with anybody saying all of that. If if you hear me, I get it. I'm loud. I'm loud, obnoxious, over the top. I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I get it. Seth Rogen's like that too. Whenever anybody brings up Charlie Day, I get it too. But when people have come up to me in casinos and asked me if I am Seth Rogen.
Come on.
That has happened twice.
You should put on the Seth Rogen voice in response.
I can't do the laugh. All you have to do is the laugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is making the, I don't know if it's his first appearance on this show, certainly the first since when I've been here.
I think so.
I think it's his first ever appearance on this show. He is the content manager over at 4for4.com. BetSperts Golf. You can follow him on Twitter at Noonan. That's R-Y Noonan. The famous shout out from Caddyshack is actually his last name. It's Ryan Noonan joining the show, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, Ryan?
Nice to be here, guys. Pleasure to meet you. Yeah, I've been on other VSiN shows over the years, but never here with you fellas. So I appreciate it. And funny, Gill, I have Uncle Danny, who was a amateur golf champion back in '79 and '80.
Oh wow!
Back in New Hampshire. So he was peak Danny Noonan during the Danny Noonan release of Caddyshack. So he's a stick, lots of stories, but yeah, it's a dated reference that fewer and fewer understand these days, but I appreciate you understanding it.
I'm sure his friends didn't kill him with that back then. Oh, my God. All right, Ryan. Well, since you bring up golf first, let's actually start with golf because you do a lot of golf. You do a lot of NFL. You do like a couple golfers this week, and you also like a top 10 bet. What do you got?
Yeah, Tour Championship, kind of a weird end of the season. I'm excited that the Tour has been pretty active of making sure that they change the process as we move forward. This is East Lake Country Club in Atlanta, which we go to often for this, but it got a complete facelift. We see a lot of renovations that come up over the years, and they do a little here and there to the course. This place got tip to tails peeled back in 2024. So I wouldn't lean on a lot of course history. I think playing from the fairway is going to matter a lot, Gill. This got pretty unpredictable, thick Bermuda rough. This is a long par 70 course. So I'm looking for guys that really control the golf ball off the tee this week. So that starts for me with Colin Morikawa. Actually led the field last week in distance from the edge of the fairway, which is a significantly better accuracy stat than binary greens or fairways hit. Fairway hit is yes or no, right? Where distance from the edge of the fairway tells us a little bit more of keeping your ball in play, controlling the golf ball. Love this from Morikawa. He's absolutely dialed on approach still. Putting is hit or miss. He's not a great Bermuda putter per se, but he's just going to keep himself in play, which we really want this week too. The other was Tom Kim, a little bit further down the board. Very similar stylistic playing style from Colin Morikawa. Is going to keep the ball in play off the tee. Great long irons player. He's actually a tremendous Bermuda grass putter. So I like Tom Kim. You can probably get a pretty solid Tom Kim finishing position bet too, if you wanted to kind of avoid the top of the board and you're worried about Scotty or Rory, for instance. But Tom Kim, 48s, 50s are out there. It's a good week for each ways too, if you happen to have access to each way betting. We can kind of cover some more positions this week since we're dealing with a truncated 30-man field. I like those guys in the outright market.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you like the Colin. You're on Morikawa as well.
I'm on Morikawa. Yeah. I think Tom Kim's a great long shot option. I'm with you on both those, Ryan. I'll ask you. So obviously I'm on Morikawa too. So those guys aren't winning. So who's going to win this week? This is the last golf tournament of the season we can bet. Who's going to win this week that you're going to regret the most?
Oh man, my data and the modeling I did this week loves Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
I'm never making that click, Kelley. I'm never making that click when he's, in the 30s, in the 40s, where he spent most of the summer. He is admittedly playing tremendous golf, which is why, the recency of the modeling likes him quite a bit. He actually fairly nice history here. But again, as I kind of touched on at the top, I'm just really not leaning on course history here because this is a really different venue in terms of where they're at. It's the same place, but in terms of how it plays, I do think it differs a little bit from some of the historic East Lake stuff. So Cantlay would be a guy that I would be frustrated that I didn't trust my numbers, and I, made a personal subjective play to avoid and ignore him. But that would be annoying.
Copyright violation on the question. 5 cents in the till, please.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10, Victor Hovland, you say? You like?
Yeah, I like Hovland, Gill. He, another guy, really good ball striker, keeps the ball in play off the tee. He has the distance to get it done here. This is a place that's really mitigated around the green play. If you look at the leaderboard last year, the guys that were towards the top, they were towards the bottom of the week in strokes gained around the green. When Hovland's off, it's when he has to rely on scrambling and chipping. Really, we don't like him in those weeks. Actually, and also he's better when we have shorter shaved runoffs around the greens instead of like the thick aprons. And that's what we have here with the remodel. So it's a good spot for Hovland. Another great Bermuda putter too. So don't like the outright price per se. I think it's a little too short, but I would imagine he's in the mix. So top 5 with ties, top 10 with ties. I think he mixes this weekend.
All right, let's get to as many season-long NFLs as we can. Let's start with the hotly contested NFC North, where the Lions are favored to win the division. And then, obviously the market has it one way, but a lot of people have a lot of opinions. What is the team you landed on as a bet to win that division?
I like the 5-1 Vikings number. I think this team is, look, coaching is tremendous. I do think that we have a pretty decent historical outlier of Kevin O'Connell kind of being, I say, a kingmaker, but we've resurrected some pretty solid careers here. Really, JJ, unfortunately, seems to be kind of the only outlier that hasn't really been able to figure it out under O'Connell's coaching there. 9-8 with all the mess that they had last year. Really opportunistic defense, which I love. I think having a game plan for a Flores defense, especially outside the division where you don't see it all the time, I think gives them a little bit of an advantage week in and week out. Kyler obviously has some questions, but I just have some concerns a little bit with Green Bay, their defensive depth, their offensive line issues. I think there's so much natural regression that I think we're expecting on the Chicago side. They can kind of plow through that. And again, if they're going to want to score 42 points a game, they might need to. But I think that there's some regression there. And I have concerns about the secondary for Detroit, too. I think they're going to have to beat people, by running up the score. I think that gets a little harder to do when we get to the playoff time. So, yeah, I think it's a tough, interesting early slate for Minnesota. But I think if they get off to a good start, they do have Green Bay and Chicago to start. I think get off to a really nice start. I think I like over 8.5 wins, and I think 5-1 to win this division is a pretty good price.
Okay, this has gone well so far, but now we're treading into murky waters here. NFC East, who you got to win the division there?
I kind of like the vibes of what's going on in Dallas. The problem with Dallas is I think we all agree is that we naturally pay a little bit of a Dallas tax just because they are such a public team, and typically we'll find that I like them, but my numbers don't necessarily line up with where I think their prices are. But 2-1 to win this division, again, the vibes are a tough way to handicap something. There just always seems to be something off with this Sirianni Hurts situation going on. I'm worried about the ceiling of their offense. Defense is going to be solid without a doubt. But I'm interested in the Christian Parker thing that they have going on there, bringing him over from Philly. It's not widely available, but some books will offer assistant coach of the year. I think Christian Parker, 18-1 is a pretty good stab. Maybe if you're interested in, again, not a clean derivative of a good Dallas season, but I think another way to say, hey, maybe there's a chance they win this division or they're going to be in the mix. I think Christian Parker is a good kind of caveat there. Again, the ceiling on the offense, if they stay healthy, they're going to be able to run the football, with the dynamic receivers that they have here. I think there's just a lot to like here. Just a ton of, they haven't replaced a single edge rusher that's dominant to bring in anything on the Micah Parsons side, but they have depth along the defensive line. And I think you really need that to be competitive. And I think they have 4 or 5 guys that can contribute. So I'm in on Dallas this year.
The Christian Parker call sort of reflects that you do a lot of stuff with defensive stats. You focus a great deal on defense. Just curious on your way out here, defensive rookie of the year, where you don't have stats for these guys on the pro level. Do you have a thought in this market?
Yeah, I think it obviously ends up being a little bit, typically it's been top of the boards done very well. Last year was an outlier where we hit a 60-1, 66-1 Carson Schlesinger. Again, because I think we want to look at high-end edge rushers, and we have some this year. I think some more that are better and more likely to have good seasons. But deep down the board, there's a couple of names, kind of a similar model to the Schlesinger play last year. Jayshon Barham in Dallas. You can find 150-1s on this guy to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Also, Caleb Elarms-Orr, probably going to win the linebacker 2 job in Buffalo. These guys are going to play island games. They're going to contribute. They're going to compile some stats. Those are triple digits in that market. I think there's those guys should be probably closer to 50-1.
Can't thank you enough, Ryan. Appreciate it. Great stuff.
Appreciate it, guys.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Great spot from Ryan Noonan over at 4for4.com, BetSperts Golf. I'll repeat his NFL plays at the end of the segment because I know those came quick and the names were a little tricky for some folks, so we'll get to that. Yeah. First, the tweets. James Fessler, an important caveat to the AL Championship Series odds that we were talking about earlier. It says number one seed plays the 4-5 wildcard winner. Essentially, that is Tampa Bay, New York, Boston in some order. So there's value somewhere in the Central West teams since they missed those 3 in a 5-game series. Yeah, and for the reasons we stated as well, right? Where it's, again, getting to the championship series. Right now, some of the second-place teams in those divisions have the promise of still getting a bye. And so that's where it's pricing, and those gravitates to the Central and West teams as well. Poke Therapy. Megapod Week 1 has to be latest Wednesday as football starts a day early this year. Yes, we know. Either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of that week. Bobby Geddes. Yesterday on the show, Jeff Erickson mentioned Christopher Harris. I've mentioned him to you guys before. Couldn't agree with Jeff more. He watches every minute of every game and has a 200-plus page almanac with over 250 player profiles, much more fantasy-based, but he dabbles with the betting side as well. Would be a fun guest. We got to get him on as well.
Yeah, Harris football. Yeah. He's done great stuff for years, yeah.
Brian Point Schaefer. Geez, Gill, I didn't know you had Boris Becker on the show earlier. Yeah, I know, right? Todd Wishnev with a very, how can I put this, skewed impression of the prowess of his tennis game. Just want to point that out.
Oh, man.
This guy thinks he's a regular Guillermo Vilas, this guy. Colin Murphy. A little behind, but my cousin's last name is Tracy, and he married a girl named Tracy, so my cousin's wife's name is Tracy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Totally awesome. It's awesome that he had an uncle named Danny Noonan right in the heart of the Caddyshack.
That's incredible,
years.
actually. Yeah, like you said, can you even imagine walking around? I would just think,
Noonan.
What are the chances? How unlucky did I have to be?
Danny. Okay, tennis today. Ignacio Buse, minus 120 versus Daniel Altmaier. Sebastian Baez, minus 148 versus Juan Manuel Cerundolo. And then Botic van de Zandschulp, minus 147 versus Luciano Darderi. Those are all at Winston-Salem, North Carolina, on the campus of Wake Forest University in the Fakakta tournament that precedes the U.S. Open.
That's where they play it, too?
Yeah.
On campus?
At Wake, yeah.
Do students get free tickets? That'd be kind of cool, actually.
That would be cool, except it's August and they're not there.
And it's late August. I think school started.
Yeah, maybe they showed up. Yeah, you're right. Iga to win the U.S. Open 7-1. Carlos Alcaraz to win the U.S. Open plus 175. Those are the only futures at the Open so far. We will get the draw. Hopefully we'll get quarters here. Lickety split after the draw is announced on Thursday. NFL, mentioned these yesterday. Season longs. Nick Bonito, Defensive Player of the Year, 14-1. Caleb Williams, passing yards leader, 20-1.
Classes began on Monday. So if you attend Wake Forest and you're listening to the show and you're not on campus, get there quick.
You think the average sophomore at Wake Forest knows who Botic van de Zandschulp is?
Dude, the BV disease? Yeah, of course he does.
All right, what do you got here, sir?
Matas Buzelis to win Most Improved Player. Talked about this yesterday, 40-1. That is in the National Basketball Association.
Thank you for stipulating.
He plays for the Bulls of Chicago in the Eastern Conference. Then I do have one preseason week 3 play I made. Made this after I got a little confirmation from my good friend Adam Burke, who wrote about his preseason week 3 preseason bets at VSiN.com today. I'm going to go Cowboys money line. They are 2-0 going up against the 0-2 Saints, plus 31 point differential for the Cowboys so far this preseason, minus 38 for the New Orleans Saints. So a lot of Joe Milton. Sam Howell might be an audition for Sam Howell, looking for another job. Think he gets a lot of playing time like the Cowboys.
Joe Milton, strongest arm I've ever seen.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. You got some golf?
Oh, golf. Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa outrights for me this week. Then it is top 5 and top 10 on Xander, a top 10 on Colin Morikawa, and then the only one I didn't get to, top 10 on Patrick Cantlay. Like Ryan Noonan just talked about, he has been ridiculously good the past few weeks.
I don't know if he knows where the ball's going, but he's the strongest arm I've ever seen. Will Hill.
Right, correct.
Orioles today at the Cardinals. Will's on the O's. Cubs, even money at the Diamondbacks. He's on the Cubbies. Mariners to win the AL West from Willie at plus 185. And then college football, Carolina, TCU. He's going under 47.5. USC team total over 48.5 versus the Spartans of San Jose State. And then NC State is taking the 6 on the Wolfpack versus the Virginia Wahoos. Now, Ryan Noonan, who was just on with us. Okay. Colin Morikawa to win the Tour Championship, 21-1. Tom Kim also to win the Tour Championship at 49-1. Those are his two outrights. Then he's got Victor Hovland top 10 this weekend, plus 158. Remember, field is 30 golfers. Vikings to win the NFC North at plus 510. Cowboys to win the NFC East at plus 205. Now, he mentioned Christian Parker, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, as perhaps I don't know if he said it in these terms, but sounded like he was
assistant coach of the year,
favoring a bet in the assistant coach of the year market. If you can find that,
18-1 at Bet 365, right?
18-1 at Bet 365, says Kelley Bydlon. And then these are the hard names for people. What he did it quickly, but for defensive rookie of the year, he went with two bombs. I do mean bombs. For the Cowboys, Jaysean Barham, 150-1. Jaysean Barham, Barham, 150-1. And then on the Buffalo Billiards, he went with Caleb Elarms Orr. That's Elarms, Elarms -ORR. 200-1 for defensive rookie of the year. How about that from Ryan Noonan?
I like those. I like that thinking in this market. I mean, we had a very, very long shot win this just last year. So,
yeah, both of those guys for their respective teams are number 2 on the depth chart at linebacker. So there you go.
And then I did want to bring up, it was Abdul Carter, he said, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Because Ryan does a lot of, and we'll probably have him on again during the season, but he does a lot of tackle and sack props week to week for games. But I know he's had a few of these, not as many as I was expecting heading into the season, but for season-long stats, he said his favorite sack prop was over on the 7.25 for Abdul Carter. He had him projected at over 10.
Yes. That was his favorite over-under sack prop of anybody. Abdul Carter, over 7.5. Now, he did chime in also on this most regular season sacks. Kelley and I were doing head-to-heads earlier on the show. We didn't get to sacks head-to-head, and I'll sort of give Ryan's thoughts on all these. Danielle Hunter versus Will Anderson Jr., two teammates with the Houston Texans, who many people may not recall, again, especially bettors who didn't have a bet in this market. Danielle Hunter actually ended up with more sacks than Will Anderson last year. Danielle Hunter had 15. Will Anderson Jr. had 12. Danielle Hunter is at -130 here head-to-head with Will Anderson Jr., most regular season sacks head-to-head. Ryan he just said he kind of agrees with that number. Yeah. He actually had Hunter better, and he was surprised that the market had him, but he agrees with that number.
I'm surprised the market's like this just because Will Anderson, what are we talking about? Co-favorite or second on the board for defensive player of the year? Yeah. I mean, it's 130 to even money.
But Hunter sort of benefits on this. He
totally does. Yeah. I mean, great duo.
And then the Battle of the Sweats. Josh Sweat versus Montez Sweat. Keith Sweat not pictured. Josh Sweat is -140 versus Montez Sweat. So Josh Sweat of the Cardinals, Montez Sweat of the Bears. Skin's great, Montez Sweat. Josh Sweat's -140. Ryan Noonan just said value on Montez Sweat at +110, though. He likes the dog in that one. Trey Hendrickson -150 versus Max Crosby at +120. Remember, this was hey, Max Crosby is going to be a Bengal. Oh, guess what? No, you're not a Bengal. Oh, no, he was going to be a Raven, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, guess what? You're not going to be a Raven. You're going to be still with the Raiders. Trey Hendrickson ends up being the Raven in the end. That's why these two are cleverly paired. He actually agreed with his number. He has Trey Hendrickson as the favorite over Max Crosby as well. So the one of those three that he really likes is Montez Sweat at +110. He thinks the others are properly priced. And then he had no opinion, obviously, on the two rookies. Ruben Bain Jr. versus David Bailey. Ruben Bain Jr. of the Bucks, David Bailey of the Jets. Ruben Bain Jr. is at -130. Did we see that a little injury came down for Ruben Bain Jr.? Did I imagine that this morning?
No, you did not. I don't think it was serious.
I don't think it was serious either. But yeah, something happened. AC joint injury for Ruben Bain Jr.
Oh, that's right. Danny and I were talking about it before the show.
So hopefully not serious, not believed to be serious.
Former professional quarterback Danny Higgins, though, did point out that it's something that can linger with you for a while.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not for the Bucs' sake. Let's hope not for Ruben Bain Jr.'s sake. But he had no opinion on this two rookies. Bain Jr. -130 versus David Bailey. He didn't have an opinion on that, but he did have an opinion again on Defensive Rookie of the Year with those two bombs, which I like. So of all of those head-to-heads, the one that sounded to me like you liked the most was A.J. Brown over Devontae Smith for receiving yards.
There were a few I liked. Hold on. There were a few I think that was my favorite, though.
The one we didn't do was receiving touchdowns, by the way. We skipped over that one. A.J. Brown is way bigger of a favorite receiving touchdowns over Devontae. He's a $2 favorite in touchdowns.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I would bet him in the yardage one. I still think he finishes with more yardage.
A.J. Brown had 7 touchdowns last year with the Eagles. Devontae had 4.
I don't know, man. I really liked the Kenneth Walker one, too.
Again, going to the bottom, though, Justin Jefferson and George Pickens is a coin flip. Jefferson had 2 receiving touchdowns last year. Pickens had 9.
Yeah, give me Jefferson.
Yeah, bounce back.
Kyler's there now. He's got a real quarterback.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Easy.
Thank you, sir. Well done today.
Hey, well done by you.
Well done, Danny Higgins. Well done, everybody behind the glass. Prop Points is next. Enjoy from Visa, the Sports Betting.